As an autoimmune health and life coach with Hashimoto's hypothyroidism, celiac disease, and ADHD, here are some things that I do not do and things that I do for my long-lasting health. And in case you're not familiar with me, I'm Michele Spring of Thriving Autoimmune. I'm an autoimmune health and life coach who has helped women for over a decade to feel their best despite having autoimmunity. And before I get to my list, I just want to say that I'm not trying to say this in any way to shame you if you are doing any of these things that I don't do. These are just the things that I have learned do not serve me very well, and a lot of times my clients as well. And the things that I do, you don't necessarily have to do them as well, right? This is not a do as I say kind of list. I'm just letting you know because sometimes I think people get into this perfectionism. I mean, a lot of us are overachievers, right? And we think when we go on social media, we go on YouTube and we go all of these different places, we see influencers doing a whole bunch of things and it seems almost impossible sometimes to get all of that stuff in, right? And I want to set the expectation that you don't have to do all of those things that they say, and also that you can have a very vibrant, healthy life without doing a lot of those trendy kind of things. So really the point of this is to take away some of that guilt and shame if you're not doing some of the things that you see online as the healthy things to do, so that you know that you can still live a great life without them. All right, so let's go ahead and get to my list. The first one is that I don't do high intensity exercise or HIIT exercise. I don't because it puts too much stress on my body. I have learned that I have autoimmune exercise intolerance where if I work out too much or too intensely or too many times or too long or any of that kind of stuff, I flare up with my symptoms of my autoimmune diseases. This means fatigue, feeling like I'm pushing against a brick wall, just feeling heavy, like I'm carrying weights around my feet and my arms and my body. And then I get sick. I've done videos about this before. I'll put it up wherever it goes here, just so you can see about that. But I don't specifically ever work on doing HIIT exercises for this very reason. The next one is cold plunges. This is one of those trendy things that people say, oh, you should do it. It's so amazing and stops inflammation, all that kind of stuff. And while some people get a lot of benefits from this, I have found for both myself and a lot of my clients with autoimmunity that it actually pushes your body towards too much stress. And while it might feel great initially, right after you do it, you have this adrenaline high and all of that, then you come crashing down afterwards. I've had clients that have had headaches for months, that have gotten sick afterwards, that just all kinds of strange things that happen that really show that you've kind of gone into too high of cortisol and then backed off. And so it's not one of those things that I recommend people do. And if they want to, they start off slowly. It's something I don't do. The next one is to eat a low calorie diet. I've done this, for a long time when I started gaining weight in college. And then afterwards, I would go back and forth with weight gain and then weight loss. And I would try low calorie diets. I grew up learning this from my mom who did the same thing. But I have learned that the low calorie diets also raise cortisol levels, put enormous amounts of stress on your body, and they don't really work to lose weight on a long-term basis. I have found so much more success with finding foods that work best for my body. I've done this through doing the autoimmune protocol diet, elimination diet, and reintroducing foods, and those foods that don't cause inflammation in my body and don't cause any sort of food intolerances or anything like that. As long as I eat those, and I can eat pretty much as of those as I want, then I have been staying at a ideal weight for myself. So I just don't do a low calorie diet. The next one is long meditations. I think a lot of people think, oh, well, I have to regulate my nervous system and I have to de-stress. So I have to do an hour-long meditation or even a 15-minute meditation. And I don't do this. That's the ADHD part. I feel very anxious if I have to sit there. I can do it, but most of the time, if I am in a stressed out kind of mood, it actually makes me more anxious. So instead of doing that, I do shorter little things. And I'll get to that in a list of the things that I do. The next one's kind of obvious. I don't eat gluten. I have celiac disease, right? So eating gluten, it makes me feel absolutely miserable, like life is ending, so I don't want to do that. But even if I didn't have celiac disease, I would probably not eat it just because of the effects that it can have on your thyroid when you have Hashimoto's. And I will put the video about that up wherever that goes. It's left, I think it's up here. The next one is spending more than 5 minutes a day checking the news. Now, I did get into a news rabbit hole over the summer and it really affected me. I got into such a fear spiral, and that's what the news does. It really works on activating your fear center and pulling you in with all of the drama and bringing you back day after day and hour after hour to check what's new and to really find out all of the things that are going on. And it can be really detrimental to your mental health as well as your physical health, because again, it raises that cortisol. And so we don't want to be in this stressed out fight or flight, even if like we're not actually the ones in danger. Your brain thinks that you are in danger when you're reading some of these stories and you're seeing all of these things happening and you're starting to get into that spiral and really kind of like triggering yourself and spiraling yourself up and all of that kind of stuff. So I only check the news very, very briefly just to see what's going on, make sure that there's nothing that really affects me at all in, a direct manner. And then I turn it off and I don't check it for the rest of the day. Other than the summer, I've done this for years, and you always find out the things that are important and that are relevant to you, even if you don't check it on the actual news sites. People will tell you, or you'll find out some other way. The next one is staying up late. I have learned this one the hard way, but I go to bed at 9:30 every night, around that time, and then I'll have that on my do list. But really staying up late, I have learned through wearing my Oura ring especially, is that like if I go to bed even a half hour to an hour later than usual, I don't get my deep sleep. It is very, very affected. And then I also have a harder time like waking up in the morning. And so it really has this cumulative effect over time. So by going to bed at the same time, roughly every single night, it really helps set your circadian rhythm, which helps with your stress levels and your digestion and your workouts and all of that stuff as well as sleep. The next one is following every health hacking trend out there. Obviously, by what I said in the intro of this video, is that I don't follow all of the trends. There are things like peptides and GLP-1s and even red light therapy and all of this stuff that I don't need it. I don't know. I don't feel like I need it. This isn't to say that it's not for you, but I do know some health influencers that go through everything, cryotherapy and like all these different hyperbaric chambers and all of these different things. And they try it all, which is fine. Great for them if they want to do that, but don't feel like you have to do that. That's all I'm trying to say. Is that like, I don't follow all of those things. And so unless you have a specific reason for needing to do so, because you're still not feeling well after trying some of the other more basic kind of interventions, like changing what you eat or getting better sleep, things like that, then maybe go ahead and try it, but don't feel like you have to do all of these things. The next one is only buying organic, wild-caught, grass-fed meats and veggies and all that kind of stuff. I don't have the budget for that. I feed 2 teenage boys, which in itself is ridiculous, right? Like if you've had teenage boys, you know how much ridiculous amount of foods they eat. And I would never be able to afford all of that unless like we sold our house and lived in a tent. So we don't. I try to if I can, and if I find it on sale, great, I will. But it's not like I do that all my meals and say, oh, I can't eat it if it's not. We eat plenty of conventional meat, have conventional fruits and berries and vegetables and things like that. And it is what it is. Would I rather? Oh yeah, sure. I would love to like shop at Whole Foods and go over to Erewhon when I'm in California and things like that. Yeah, great. But that's not realistic. So it's fine. Don't worry if you can't do all of the really, better for you kind of options like that. And then the last one I wanted to talk about is avoiding all forms of sugar, because I think some people really get into the whole like, oh, sugar is the devil and all of that kind of stuff. And yeah, you should not have a lot of sugar. Sugar isn't a great health food by any means, but I enjoy a dessert as much as the next person, and I'm going to have it. So I don't avoid it. I just try to minimalize it. I treat my desserts as treats. I got a box of chocolates from my husband for our anniversary in August. And every day I would have one, I'd put it in my mouth and I would do nothing else. And I would sit there and I would taste it. And it's like, when's the last time you've ever done anything like that? It is such an experience. I would taste all of the flavors. I would notice how the chocolate is melting on my tongue. And it was just such an experience. So something like that is awesome. I don't care how much chocolate or how much sugar is in that when you do that, right? So just enjoy your treats. Don't have them all the time, but when you do, enjoy them. Don't want to feel guilt about it at all. So, that got a little long. I didn't think it was going to be that long, but apparently I am very talkative today. So I'm going to split this video up into two. Next week, I'm going to share the things that I do for my autoimmune health and everything like that. Hopefully this helps with, again, the shame and knowing that like I don't do some of these things and I'm still okay. So tune in next week for that second video.